Gilliard is a retired professional and a West Ashley resident who wants to serve the constituents of the City of Charleston's District 9 area on Charleston City Council. I talk one-on-one with Roy for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Roy Gilliard, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate it greatly.
Yes.
Needless to say, you are a Charleston native here.
Correct.
You live in West Ashley.
Yes.
You've been retired now from the corporate world for 3 years, as you just told me.
About 3 years.
3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now, obviously, you're very active again as a candidate for City of Charleston Council's District 9 seat.
That's correct. And active on plenty of other things as well, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
What got you from, obviously, the corporate world to now becoming a politician and being a candidate for Charleston City Council?
That's a good question, Quintin. Well, you know, it was time for me to, well, I could work longer, but I was in a situation where I could retire, so I went ahead and retired about 3 years ago. And I realized I was active in a lot of community things and involved in other things in the community. You know, a great man once told me, and he's passed away now, and he was a councilman as well. He tried to get me to run several years ago, but I didn't want to. My heart was not in it, my head wasn't. But he passed away, and you know, I thought about what he said. He told me one time, he said, "Roy, let me tell you something. You saying you're not going to run, but you're going to run. You just have the kind of spirit, the kind of character, and you serve people." That was the key. Serving people. And that's what I want to do, Quintin. I want to serve individuals and help them to rally their call in our community and our city. Because that's where it all starts. Here at the bottom level, City Council and other councils, school council, we need to start here before we can reach up there. And I feel that I'm the person to do that.
And if you were to be elected to Charleston City Council, you'll obviously be representing District 9, which covers what?
All of the different areas you want to know, okay. It covers District 9 and West Ashley, Ashleyville, Maryville, Leninvar, Park Shore 1 through 3, half of Ardmore, and Avondale.
Avondale, yeah.
Sure.
Yes, indeed. I know all about Avondale and Verde over there.
Yes, sir.
In what ways, Mr. Roy, are you currently engaging the constituents in your district?
Right now, I'm involved a lot in community activities. One is, from my experiences from the chairman, the Chamber of Commerce. I worked with the Chamber for 4 years. I'm not with them now, but I spawned off into a lot of other things. I'm not going to go through a whole litany of things, but right now, I'm involved with mentoring.
Sure.
I'm the chairman of a group called Charleston Youth Leadership.
Okay.
That we train young men in the community. I've been with that now for almost 15 years.
Wow.
And fortunately for them and for me, they asked me to be the chairman. That was beyond my wildest dream, but I saw I could lead in that capacity, and I did. So with that, as well as a group of men called the 11. So those groups I'm active in right now.
Yes, sir.
And I think I'm making a positive impact as well as trying to get into City Council.
And you talked about those notable areas that we all know and love in West Ashley. What exactly are the 3 biggest residential concerns in those areas?
You know, Quintin, I get asked that a lot. I have my 3, but I'm going to espouse to you the community's concern when I take an analysis of the group.
Sure.
1, traffic. We just get inundated now with a lot of traffic, and we've gotten so used to it, but it shouldn't be as much squandered as it is. So traffic, we have low-income housing is a concern in some of my areas, and people are concerned about housing and the costs around living in certain areas, as well as not the number one, but one of the biggest things that comes about in our community is crime. Now, in the many areas that I represent,
Yes, sir.
crime is not as prevalent in some as it is in others. However, it's still there.
Yes, sir.
And even though no matter what area I go into, people will say, even in my area, we still have vandalism, not on a wide scale, but people are concerned when someone is breaking in your garage, that's crime, and people are concerned about that. So those are the areas that I feel that's paramount right now to tackle, and one of the major ones.
Yes, sir.
And when I call it, you say, is flooding. Because even though a lot of us live in certain areas where we think are the nice areas, even in those areas we have flooding. I can take you out on any given day on a heavy rain and show you streets you can't get through. Now it's worse in the city, and you down in the city, you know what I mean. But we get it out of the West Ashley as well. And we're doing something now with the drainage and the plumbing, but more needs to be done to get our city on a level where the drainage of the water just goes away, because it gets flooded and it affects people's homes. I know a young lady right now, where every time it gets heavy rain, her living room floods. And those are the kind of things that we have to eradicate.
I want to get back to that in just a second, Mr. Roy, but you talk about obviously traffic. What traffic fixes can you use right now for District 9 without infrastructure?
You said without infrastructure?
Yes, sir.
Well, that is a tough question, because we need infrastructure. But let me tell you something. And I know you have driven across West Ashley,
Sure.
going toward Cosgrove
Sure.
and things like that. The solutions, I guess that's what you're asking me for, to look at and to help without that infrastructure now, is over Cosgrove Bridge, tight in the mornings. We need to install more what I can consider as barriers. You know, I spoke to a man in traffic a couple of years ago. He was actually the director of the traffic in the state. And as you go across the Cosgrove Bridge, you see these probably 3.5, 4 feet yellow poles extending across.
Right.
To me, that's a safety hazard. It gives people caution, but if your car hits it, your car's going straight across on the other side. Whereas I spoke to this guy several years ago about putting up what they have out in some cities in California, San Diego, where they have caution bumpers.
Right.
Well, when you strike that bumper causes your car to react to it where it bounces off and not go across. I think those are the kind of things that we need to consider for safety and for traffic. And one of the major things that I'm thinking about is right on Cosgrove. We call it, and there's a lot of talk about the Sumar Street building and stuff like that. But you ever thought about that's 3.2 acres of land. At the tip of the acreage, there's a merge where cars come in and merge. And for the life of me, every day you go through it, you don't know whether you're going to get hit or not. You're always wondering. But those are the kind of things, before we even do anything with Sumar Street, we need to correct that merge. And I think a simple way to do it, and not very costly, is to put up merge lights or caution lights, so that when you come down what we call the merge or the suicide merge, at least alert you that something is getting ready to happen up front and slow you up. I think that would be paramount for slowing up traffic and eliminating some accidents, not all, as long as we direct ourselves to it and make some kind of challenge to that area where it'll stop people from going in together and not knowing whether you're going to go right or going to go left, and then people just merge in.
How many accidents have been taking place at that particular location?
That's a good question. I don't know specifically how many. All I know is from a citizen standpoint, I've seen a lot. I can't give you exact numbers.
Now, with those merge lights, how much would that actually cost the city of Charleston?
Well, it definitely wouldn't cost as much as putting a pavement or another stretch of highway there. So the exact cost, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the exact cost of what the cost, but I'm sure it'll be less, much less than putting some other kind of structure there.
And I want to get back to that in just a second, but then 2 weeks ago I had to go to the merge just to get on the other side of Old Town Road there. But the Sumar Street redevelopment, as you know, it's in Northbridge, a Charlestown gateway, site of a 2.5-acre parcel of land located at the central entrance point of West Ashley. The site, as you know, is once located where Piggly Wiggly once was.
Right.
And after a 5-year period of vacancy, the city purchased the property on August 8th, 2017 for the price tag of $3 million. It's been sitting there vacant for many years, as you know.
Yes.
What is the current price tag of this redevelopment?
Well, they have several. They have 3. Option 1,
Right.
option 2,
Sure.
and option 3. And they talk about a couple of $1 million for certain things to redevelop that land. You mentioned 2.5 acres, but it's 3.2 acres at that Sumar Street.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the total cost is going to be because I don't know what we're going to put there. But I'll tell you this. Let me share this with you.
Okay.
I've seen option 1, option 2, option 3. I sort of leaned toward option 1 until I realized that we use that as a political football. It's speeding for us now because it's election time and it's something we can talk about and we think that it attracts the constituents. But I beg to differ because the people that I talk to all the way from Ashleyville, Maryville, all along, Ardmore, they want to know, why do we move to Piggly Wiggly? See? And they don't understand it was because of financial issues or none of that. They just want the Piggly Wiggly back. So my question is, why not put another supermarket there? Why are we so quick to say, we purchased this land, $3 million or whatever we did, but we're gonna make some money off of it. That's good. That's great. But still, you have to listen to what the people are saying. Some people are saying put a convention center there. I'm along with the people saying, if it works, don't take it down. I like Piggly Wiggly. I mean, it doesn't even have to be Piggly Wiggly. It could be another superstore. I mean, a store, because people in that area, I think, are dying. We have Publix there, and it's great.
Yes.
Great. We had, I believe it was Harris Teeter over on the other side.
Right.
That's gone. So when now that one is gone, and we have just one now, and Piggly Wiggly, people are saying, why do we take Piggly Wiggly away? And I don't know if your mother shops in that area or not, or whoever. I know I do.
Oh, it means you all the time.
My wife do. It's like most people who cook, we have certain stores that we go to.
Sure.
We have Publix. I go to Publix for certain things. Great store.
Right.
And I used to go to Piggly Wiggly when I'm making my soups or if I'm making cakes and things like that, because they had special things that the other stores don't have. And then the people in the back, when I want to make soups, they cut my meat for me.
Sure.
It was a personal involvement with those people, and I enjoyed it. So I'm with the people who are saying, let's put it on the supermarket there. Let's research that. Don't play political football with me because it's something now that you want to talk about that the city bought. What about us? What can we do as citizens? What can we use?
So what have you researched thus far, if that option were to come to reality?
In terms
The
of,
supermarket idea.
well, when you say research getting a supermarket or research
Yes, sir.
the people who want to? Well, here you go. The guy from Piggly Wiggly, Robert, he has a Piggly Wiggly out in Hollywood as well.
Yeah.
I talked to him, so I said, why don't you guys put another, so I'm telling you about the research. I said, why don't you put another, are you afraid of Publix? Because Publix stated when they first came, what's your goal? To round out all the Piggly Wigglies. But I know you said it jokingly and jest,
Right.
but still, what can you do? How much is it going to cost for you? The people want you over there. Now you opened the store back up on
Skylock.
There you go. Is there any plan or future for it? He said, well, you know, if the people want it as bad as they say they do, and they have interest in it, I'll take a look at it. You know, but you know, you got to have the money. You're talking couple of millions of dollars, $50 to $100 million to set up that grocery store. So he said, I'm not saying that we can't do it, but I'm just saying the people has to have the interest for it to occur.
And what other locations are they currently looking at when it comes to Piggly Wiggly in that area?
I don't know what other ones. I just know the Sumar Street is a viable option.
Oh, yes.
But I don't know if they have one. I don't think they have any other ones in West Ashley. And I don't know about North Charleston.
I go to the Skylock one all the time whenever I can to get the lunch before it gets too packed in there.
I'm gonna leave here and go there. Right?
I usually get, you know, the chicken breast and the red rice and all that stuff.
Some great cooks.
Yes, they are.
They were at Sumar as well.
Right. They had a game over there. But you talk about, obviously, the interest for this grocery store, potentially, Mr. Roy. Well, let me ask you, what are the last figures of population for District 9?
District 9 has, from my count, I'm counting registered voters.
Okay.
7,092 registered voters.
Right.
Out of that 7,092, only 4,000 out of the total district voted in the last election, the last mayoral election. That's not good. We need to get more people to vote. That 4,000 and as well as that 7,000, we got to get on board. People got to understand that in order to make any change, you have to participate. You have to vote. And I'm targeting that 7,000 people in my campaign, and as well as the registered 4,000 to vote, and the other ones to come out and register to vote.
In what way has that district map changed, if all, after redistricting?
When you say change, explain to me what you mean.
Yes,
because
yes, sir.
The area's changed.
Right.
We have Park Shore now, along with Ashleyville, and Ashleyville, they split up Ashleyville and Maryville, and a lot of people don't like that. So that's the change that I noticed. But if you're speaking about some other change, you got to be a little bit more clear.
Yes, sir. In what way has that district map changed since redistricting that area?
Well, in terms of it changing, I think just in terms of geography it changed, but people's attitudes, I think, have changed somewhat when you talk about changes. But the geography, the only thing to me is the geography that's really offset itself.
How much has the population changed since that district has been redistricted?
I don't think there's a wide growth of people in population. There are people coming in all the time, moving in. There are apartment complexes being built.
Yes, sir.
I know in the number I don't know of in Ashleyville changed several years ago when they put up white oaks.
Oh yeah.
Oaks.
Right.
Oaks. And that changed it by a good 300 people. So communities are looking and coming in now to try to relocate, as well as in certain areas like Ashleyville, the structure changed because more people are coming in because of the park now, the waterfront park. Have you ever been out there? That they put a nice park.
Yeah.
So that's changed the number of people that come to that area.
Yes. So what is the pace of growth that you foresee in the next 5 years for this district?
Well, I think it's going to be astronomical, to be honest with you. I think because people want to live in the West Ashley area.
Yeah.
We always say it's less expensive to live out than to live in. You know, I lived in the city one time ago. I don't know if I can afford it again. So people are burgeoning in our area because one, it has a lot of green space. Two, it has shopping centers, and you know the mall was there.
Yes.
But that mall is kind of dying now, and but they're looking at putting something else there. People talked about putting a shopping center near Sumar Street, and that sort of thing. So those are things that are growing now. Movie theaters.
Yes, sir.
We have several relocating where people can go to and relax. Green spaces are coming up more. So there's several things that's going on in West Ashley, down Savannah Highway.
Sure.
The growth is ongoing, and if you right now, you can see what I'm talking about, all the way almost to Red Top.
Oh yeah.
And beyond Red Top, they're putting up apartment complexes. I mean, big ones, huge. Building more homes off of Bees Ferry Road.
Sure.
So the population is expanding, and it's going to continue to expand.
Wow.
That's why it's important that we get infrastructure under wraps.
Well, let me ask you this then, Mr. Roy. How many infrastructure projects are currently going on in your district right now?
I couldn't answer that. So many, I don't know. I don't know the total number of how many that's going on. I can tell you the ones I've cited.
Yes, sir.
Like on Wapu Road,
Oh, yeah.
I think they're doing a great job with that. Savannah Highway, certain subdivisions near Magnolia Road.
Oh, yes.
Projects going on like that, but when you say how many, I would be lying to you if I tell you exactly I knew how many, but there are several going on.
Okay, let me ask you this. It might be another tough question, Mr. Roy. But how many homes do you have versus apartments in your district?
It's a good question. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I couldn't. No need
Right.
for me to even try to
Yes, sir.
guess that.
No
because
worries.
I don't know, but that's something I can research.
Oh, yes.
That's a good question.
Oh, no worries. And I'm sure there's a critical need for infrastructure repair in your district, but instead of repairs, what actually needs to be replaced?
Like I spoke about,
Yes, sir.
the Cosgrove
Oh, yes.
Highway. We're talking about versus repair, replace. Several highways in our area, going down Orange Grove,
Oh, yeah.
coming back through the landing
Oh, yes.
area.
Sure.
Those things need to be replaced. And there was a couple other ones that we're talking about. Well, we know about Sumar Street
Right.
and things like that. But highways, the infrastructure there, drainage, we need to take a look in other areas other than, I know we're doing Playground Road,
Right.
we're doing Maryville, and we need to look at Park Shore as well. And those things, the drainage needs to be replaced because the infrastructure and the piping are old and can't hold the water that comes through, so it needs to be replaced.
How old are these drainage pumps and whatnot in your district?
Let's go back. Let's go by Maryville. You're talking about pumps that are well over 70 years old. They're old. They have the what do you call that? Black. It's not cement, but the black piping.
Oh, yes.
The ones that they were using for years, and that's what they're replacing now. That's what needs to continue to be replaced because those things are collapsing.
Wow. Where exactly is it collapsing in your district?
You're talking about, I want to be specific on this because you're talking about in areas like Ashleyville, along the Main Street area.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about Maryville, that hadn't totally collapsed, but when you go through there on flooding, it holds a lot of water. So it's not far from collapsing. I'm telling you. Here's a perfect one.
Okay.
It's across in my area in East Oak Forest.
Oh, yes.
I have some borders right there on Magnolia Road.
Sure.
That whole drainage system needs to be replaced because houses, you go through there on a heavy rain, you'll see what I'm talking about, are actually, their living room or dens are floating in the water. Those pipes and drainage lines need to be replaced, not repaired.
Wow. The stormwater manual for the city. In your mind, how should I look for your district, District 9?
And the stormwater manual?
Yes, sir.
I'm not familiar with how you look it up, to be honest with you. Unless you clarify that a little bit a little bit more for me.
Yes, sir. You know, the stormwater manual plan that they have for the city of Charleston in certain areas, what should that look like for District 9? Or let's say, for instance, the drainage plan, how should that look for your district?
Well, it should look for, one, identifying the low sunken areas that need to be built up.
Okay.
Two, especially in Maryville and Ashleyville, we need to, and down Magnolia Road, we need to put in that plan that every so often,
Yes, sir.
I would say on a every other month basis in that manual, it needs to be where we actually clean out the piping and the drainage in those areas so that the water can flow when it actually rains or we get the high tides.
That was my next question, Mr. Roy. Where exactly should drainages be cleaned in your district?
All over. every drain, every ditch that you see, either by Charleston Landing,
Sure.
All the way going back toward Park Shore.
Oh, yeah.
All of those drains, you can tell when they're not clean because they start overflowing and that's obvious. So I think a period of every other month or so,
yes,
we
sir.
need to send these storm drain people out and actually dig out and clean those drains, leaves and branches, and it will help with the flow of the water going into the old drains that we have.
And you talk about those neighborhoods that, you know, Park Shore, you know, Ardmore, etc. Where exactly should sidewalks be placed in these neighborhoods?
Good question. Because I was out there last week and talking to a resident and I'm telling you where it needs to be replaced. I'm talking about when you go down Minnie Street, when you go down Main Street, you'll see that as versus other areas, other subdivisions, they have houses where the footage comes from the house to the road.
That's it.
And then we wonder, what's going on with this? Why can't I come out my house, my back front porch, and walk on a sidewalk? Why do I have to come off the grass or the dirt into the street? So places like, now mind you, let me say this,
okay.
So to clear this stuff up legally, some places that we need them at, we can't get them at because it rolls into private property, then city property, and you have to clarify all of that. So once that's cleared, there are several places in Ashleyville and the Ardmore area where I remember our councilman that I respected a whole lot got a lot of sidewalks put in Ardmore. And then he passed away and it seemed like it wasn't finished. Those are the kind of things that we need to collectively look at and finish those projects. I don't think people should ought to come out their front door into the yard street. There should be something near what they can come to relieve them from walking into the street. And if you go in those areas, you'll see a lot of houses like that.
Speaking of houses, Mr. Roy, how many homes have been built at a fairly consistent rate in your district over the past 4 years?
Tough question. Then to be honest with you, I don't know.
Okay.
I know that I can just tell you what I see.
Yes, sir.
Apartment buildings growing up, houses being built. There's a lot of it that's burgeoning, but the exact amount, I don't know.
Yes, sir. No. Now, you talk about all of these houses and mostly the apartment complexes going up, but where is the land for affordable housing and workforce housing in your district?
Good question. Land for affordable housing, specifically, and I've said it like this, it needs to be put in every area, not just the high affluent ones. Our low income that we grab land and say, okay, this is low income. No. Quintin, listen, this is my theory.
Yes, sir.
From working in housing, and I worked in housing for 8 years, I think we need, as a city, need to partner with these developers. And when I say that, when the developers come in and you see all the buildings they're doing downtown now, when they come in, we need to say, yeah, we want you to come. We want our city to grow, but we also have to understand about middle income, lower income people. I would like for you to have at least 15% of this project going toward low and middle income. We need to encourage diversity. We need to say, yeah, you're building this multi-million projects, but where's affordable housing for people, low-income people, middle-income people? Because what you're doing is running them out. We need to have diversity in our city, and this is the way we can do it. I'm talking 10% or 15%, whatever we come to agree on, but we need to work together to include diversity.
Would you ask them to bring in sidewalks too as a part of their incentive?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you know what?
Yes, sir.
Good. That's good, because I was talking to somebody about 3 weeks ago, and we were looking at these apartment developments in their communities. And I'm talking Ashleyville and the part of Ardmore area, and you know, we said, now we're talking about sidewalks, but look at this big development. We got over 200 townhouses in a gated area. But when you walk out, where do you walk? You walk on a huge sidewalk. How could that happen? Why isn't there a sidewalk across the street? So yeah, I would be a proponent for that as well.
What's more important for your district right now, Mr. Roy? Is it building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing, expanding, and better utilizing those existing homes?
The latter, and that is building and expanding and upgrading those facilities, those homes, those green spaces, those areas. I think we need to make more of what we have. And when I think about that, I think about certain areas that we walk around in, and Quintin, there's a lot of dilapidated property. There's a lot of property that people aren't using, and that's not good because it's just vacant. We need to get behind whoever the owners are, and the city to encourage these people, whether families or private owners or whatever, to get these either one, rehab, or knock them down and let us redo it.
How many of those abandoned properties are there in your district currently?
Well, it depends. One area more so than other. I don't want to call them out like that, but I can think of one area right now where we walked around and looked at 8 different vacant lots, all dilapidated. It was just crumbling. Nobody's taking care of it. So there's several properties that need work, or even people are not paying attention to them. Then we need to decide as a city what we're going to do. Are we going to reach out to these people who own it? Is it heirs property? What are we going to do? Are we going to claim it to clean it up? Because that needs to be something that those areas, we and the areas look at. And we need to work with the people in the community that own those houses or vacant lots to get them straight.
You mentioned heirs property, and we all know about the historic neighborhoods in your district, Ardmore, Maryville, Ashleyville. What should be the city's plan to make sure these people keep their homes for years to come?
Well, the city plan, good question. City needs to be able to work with these community groups and these leaders to find out, and I'll use an example. Okay. Let's take Ashleyville. I love Ashleyville to death. There's a whole lot of history in there. The city needs to put up like those medallions or signs that say this is a historical district. Ashleyville is. Ashleyville used to be a city before you and I were born.
Right.
And I'm much older than you are, so I'm not trying to cast aspersions.
No, you're fine.
But I'm just trying to say there's a lot of history there. A lot of good people. The cars, we put up a playground about a month ago to symbolize the cars' participation in that area. But one of the cars was a mayor of Ashleyville. And a lot of people don't know that. We just ride through Ashleyville and we don't understand the history.
Sure.
I think if we understand the history of certain areas, we would pay more attention to it, give it more service, and let the people know. One way we can do that, and we talk about it in these community meetings, is we need to bring it up. We need to talk about it. We should never let it go dormant or quiet. We should be talking about Ashleyville being a city before, and the mayors that came out of that city and the ones who helped to build those communities, Ashleyville and Maryville, before it was separated.
Right, that's right. I wish I had more time to talk, but the battery's running out. But Roy Gilliard, thank you for your time here on Quintin's Close-Ups, and good luck to you.
Hey, thank you, Quintin, and thank you again for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.